Good morning, everyone. It's Friday. Let's go out and have an absolutely amazing day. I'm so glad you're here. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Take your hats and hoods off. Right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Because it's Friday, one of the things that we often will do, for many of our schools is that we have our flag ceremony. And now while we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, we're also going to always make sure that we do our school pledge. And we did it last week, so I'm going to show it to you again. We'll do it the first round, we'll do it together, and then we'll do it one more time just to make sure that those of us who are new to this school or perhaps new to the school pledge have a chance to really understand it. Then next week, we'll only have to do it once. All right? Here we go.
Okay, so this is our school pledge. And we try to color code it a little bit so people can follow along with me as I do it. For some of you, this might be the first time you're seeing it. For others of you, you even know the hand motions that go with this. And for my younger students, for my TK, my kinder, and some of my first graders, it's okay if you maybe can't read this yet. You will know it because it is going to be something that we do every Friday this year as well as in the years to come. So if you want to start with me, I'm going to be in the red section first. I'll then move into the blue, the orange, the green, and then the black. So please say the school pledge with me. This day has been given to me fresh and new. I can learn from it or I can throw it away. I will choose to do my best in thoughts, words, and actions. Today, I will be a star. I will stop, think, and act responsibly. Not too bad, huh? I bet you can do it again. Shall we try it one more time? All right, let's do it again. Again, starting up at the red. Here we go. This day has been given to me fresh and new. I can learn from it or I can throw it away. I will choose to do my best in thoughts, words, and actions. Today, I will be a star. I will stop, think, and act responsibly. Great job!
Today is September 11th. And for many of us, especially your teachers, your principal, your parents, we all remember where we were on September 11th, 2001. When tragedy struck the United States and a plane struck the Twin Towers early in the morning on September 11th. Over the rest of the day, other planes crashed into the Pentagon, the second Twin Tower, and a field in Pennsylvania. There were a lot of lives that were lost on that day, but it was one of those days that now has come to show the resilience and the importance of what it means to be an American. As we remember those lives lost on September 11th, I wanted to take a chance for you to maybe understand a little bit more. Many of you were never born and may not understand what that event was like. So here's a video done by kids themselves that helps explain what September 11th is and why we take time to remember it. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Have a great weekend. And I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Have a great day, everybody.
In today's video, we are going to discuss the events that happened on September 11th, 2001.
We wanted to create this video because it's a very important piece in American history and is never to be forgotten.
Before we continue, we understand that the events that happened on September 11th are a very sensitive subject for many people. This video is intended for kids to understand what happened on September 11th.
The September 11, 2001 attacks were 4 terrorist attacks. The attacks took place on Tuesday, September 11, 2001. During the events, almost 3,000 people died. The terrorist attacks all happened at the same time. They were caused by the Islamic terrorist group Al-Qaeda. 4 different groups of terrorists, each with a trained airline pilot, seized multiple airplanes and flew them into U.S. landmarks.
These landmarks were the World Trade Center's Twin Towers in New York City and the Pentagon in Washington, D.C.
The 4th plane crashed in an empty field in Pennsylvania. It crashed before it could reach its destined target in Washington, D.C.
After the attack, the U.S. government knew who had carried out the attacks.
The United States of America determined it was the terrorist group Al-Qaeda.
This is the order how everything happened on this fateful morning.
On Tuesday morning, September 11, 2001, at 8:45 a.m., an American Airlines Boeing 767 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City.
This was the first of the 4 planes. This plane was 159 feet long, with almost a 17-foot wide body that allowed 2 aisles.
This plane made daily flights between Boston and Los Angeles.
When it took off at 7:59 a.m. that morning, it carried 81 passengers in its 158 total seats.
Only 47 minutes later, it crashed into the North Tower at 440 miles per hour. The plane was carrying 9,717 gallons of jet fuel, which was 14,000 gallons less than its full capacity. Next, United Flight 175, also a Boeing 767-200ER, was the second plane to crash.
This American Airlines plane was also scheduled to fly between Boston and Los Angeles.
When the United Flight 175 took off at 8:14 a.m., the plane was even lighter than the American Airlines flight. Only 56 of the total 168 seats were filled.
It crashed into the South Tower at 9:03 a.m. It was traveling 540 miles per hour. It had 9,118 gallons of fuel in its tanks.
Both towers of the World Trade Center caught on fire after the crashes. They are often referred to as the Twin Towers.
The South Tower burned for 56 minutes before it fell and was completely destroyed.
The North Tower burned for 102 minutes before it also fell and was destroyed after the attacks took place.
American Airlines Flight 77 was the 3rd plane to take off. This was a Boeing 757-200.
American Airlines Flight 77 left Washington, D.C. at 8:20 a.m. It was supposed to land later in Los Angeles. 2/3 of the plane was empty, with 58 passengers in its 176 seats, and its fuel tanks were 4,000 gallons under its 11,500 gallon capacity.
American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon at 9:37 a.m., flying at 530 miles per hour.
The plane that crashed into the Pentagon actually hit the ground just as it hit the western side of the Pentagon building.
It then crashed through 3 of the 5 rings that make up the Pentagon.
This crash killed 125 people working in the Pentagon. The 4th and final plane was American Airlines Flight 93. It was also a Boeing 757-200. This flight was delayed for 42 minutes passed its scheduled 8 a.m. departure from Newark, New Jersey. This flight was headed for San Francisco.
After the delay, it finally took off carrying only 37 passengers.
This plane could actually fit 182 people. The plane was loaded with a little over 7,000 gallons of fuel. It crashed at 560 miles per hour into an abandoned field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania at 10:03 a.m. It is thought that the fourth jet was supposed to target the United States Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Instead, the plane crashed in the field because passengers of the flight fought against the hijackers to try and regain control of the plane.
The passengers probably knew they were going to die, but they didn't want the plane to crash into a building where more people could also die.
We will never know just how many lives the passengers' brave and heroic act saved that day.
Every passenger on the 4 planes died in the crashes. There were 246 people.
The 19 terrorist hijackers also died in the attacks. The hijackers were Islamic terrorists from Saudi Arabia, including several other Arab nations who were reportedly supported financially by Saudi fugitive Osama bin Laden and his al-Qaeda terrorist network.
2,996 people died in the attacks, including people such as firemen, paramedics, and policemen trying to save the lives of other people.
Sadly, men, women, and children from over 90 countries died in these terrorist attacks. After the attacks, the United States accused al-Qaeda, which the U.S. believed was a terrorist group.
President George W. Bush announced he would start a war on terror.
He meant that the United States would do more to try to prevent terrorism in the future. Bush said this was meant to defend Americans and their property from terrorists. For example, the American government would be restructured.
Operation Enduring Freedom was launched less than a month after the attacks.
This was an international effort led by America to remove the Taliban from control in Afghanistan and destroy the al-Qaeda network that was located there. Security and control in many public places were made stronger, particularly at airports. Americans were then told every day if there was a serious threat of terrorism. This was done by giving a color for the day. Red meant there was a high risk. Green meant a low risk. There were many levels in between red and green. In 2004, Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda, declared responsibility for the attacks. Al-Qaeda and bin Laden said it was because of U.S. support of Israel, as well as the occupation of U.S. troops in Saudi Arabia, and penalties against Iraq as the reason for the attacks. On May 2, 2011, United States Navy SEALs killed al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden.
Bin Laden led the September 11, 2001 attacks among other terrorists' attempts.
The price to clean up the 1.8 million tons of wreckage after 9/11 was around $750 million. The site of the World Trade Center became known as Ground Zero.
There are memorials to the victims at each of the 3 locations of the attacks.
There is also the National September 11th Memorial and Museum at the World Trade Center in New York City, the Pentagon Memorial in Virginia, and the Flight 93 National Memorial in Pennsylvania. These memorials still stand today in remembrance of all the brave men and women that lost their lives on this fateful day. Their memories and September 11th will never be forgotten.
Thank you so much for watching,
Please subscribe.
and we'll see you on the next Hey Guess What?